Alright guys, this should be the last video of the week. Just got a handful of problems to get through today. So going back to the same type of problems we've been working on the last couple of days, we have got to get, let's see, I have a quadratic in X, but notice that I have no linear in X at all. Okay, so I'm not going to have to complete the square in X. So let's see, I leave that 4x squared there. Okay, I've got a quadratic in Y. I want to bring it over to the left, so it goes from being negative 4y squared to being positive 4y squared over on the left-hand side. All right, now notice that I have two linear terms in Y. Okay, so I want to get them together, and obviously they're similar, so I can collect them. Okay, so I want it on the left-hand side, so that 4y will stay there, and I'll subtract 32y from both sides. So 4y minus 32y is negative 28y. Okay, and then let's see, I've got a 31 on the right-hand side. Okay, that constant, I want it out of the way. I want it over on the right. I have another constant right here. I've got to subtract that from both sides. Okay, so I'm going to have a minus 64 on the right-hand side. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, so let's see. All right, let me collect these similar terms here first. 4x squared, all right, plus this 4y squared, minus 28y equals 31 minus 64. Let's see. All right, 31 minus 64, negative 33. Okay. Okay, we're good so far. All right, now notice that I have to divide out the 4. Okay, so I'm going to divide everything by 4 because I need that leading coefficient to be 1. Okay, so I get an x squared. Okay, plus that's going to give me y squared. Okay, minus 7y. Okay. I'm going to have to complete the square in y because y squared minus 7y is not a perfect square. So I'm going to need that constant. Okay, and then on the other side, I have a negative 33 fourths plus whatever this constant is. Okay. All right, so let's see this guy. I have to take the 7 divided by 2, okay, and square that. So I have to do the same thing over here. Okay, all right, so let's see. X squared, there is no linear term to go with it again, so x squared is already a perfect square. Okay, so I don't have to complete the square there, so I could write that as x minus 0 squared. Okay, let's see, plus this would give me y squared minus 7y plus 49 fourths equals negative 33 fourths plus, well, I already know that's 49 fourths from over here, 49 fourths. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here. Okay, I've got my x minus 0 squared. I've got to factor this perfect square trinomial. Remember, it always factors into the square of a binomial. Okay, so bring down the middle term. Okay, square root of y squared is y. Square root of 49 fourths is 7/2. Okay, equals, let's see these guys right here. What do I get there? Okay, negative 39 plus 33 plus 49, that gives me 16. So that'd be 16 fourths, which reduces down to 4. Okay, so we're in good shape there. Okay, so now I've got to find the center, and I've got to find the radius. Okay. So my center, my HK, okay, x minus h, so h is 0. Y minus k, so k is 7/2. Okay, and my radius is the square root of this guy, which is 2. So we're in good shape. Let's see, next guy up. Okay. All right, well, I want to get these quadratic terms on the left. Okay, so that guy's already on the left, so I got to bring this guy over. Okay, so it becomes negative 6x squared. Okay, I want that 30x to stay with it. Okay, I already have my negative 6y squared. It's on the left-hand side, but I need to bring over this linear term, this 48y, so when I bring it over, it becomes negative. So minus 48y equals, I've only got one constant, it's on the right-hand side, I want to keep it there. Okay, so let's see what we got to do. We got to divide out a negative 6 all the way across. All right, so be careful with your signs here. Okay, so let's see, this will give me x squared. Okay, this will give me minus 5x. And obviously I'm gonna have to have some constant there. This will give me a positive y squared. This guy will be positive, that'll give me a positive 8y. And I'm gonna need some constant there. On the right-hand side, let's see, negative 3, that's positive 1/2. And then whatever constants I add here, I've got to add over here. Okay. So let's see this guy. I got to take the 5, divide by 2, square that. So I've got to add that over here. Here I have to take the 8, divide by 2, and square that. So I got to add that over here. Okay. So let's see what we get. X squared minus 5x. This would be plus, when I square 5 halves, I get 25 fourths plus y squared plus 8y plus, well, notice here 8 is divisible by 2, so that's 4, so 4 squared is 16. Okay, so let's see, I've got a 1/2. This guy gives me 25 fourths, and then this guy is 16. Okay. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. Okay, this is a perfect square trinomial. Okay, right here. Okay, I've got to factor that. So let's see, bring the sign down. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 25 fourths is 5 halves. Okay, so far so good. Here's another perfect square trinomial. Okay, factors into the square of a binomial. Bring the sign of the middle term down. Square root of y squared is y. Square root of 16 is 4. Okay, and then this guy right here, let's see. Let's do a little sidebar up here. I'm gonna bring this guy up here out of the way. And let's see, I need a common denominator, so the common denominator is gonna have to be 4. Okay, so I have this 1/2, which becomes 2 fourths plus 25 fourths. Plus, let's see, I have to change this into fourths. Okay, so that is going to be a 4 here. That would be what, 64? All right, so let's see, we add those. All right, I got a 27 plus 64. Okay, so I am getting 91 fourths right there. Okay, let me see. I want to make sure I got that one right. That's a 2 fourths. That's a 25 fourths, we know. 4 times 4, let's see, 4 times 60, 64. Okay, so we're good. All right, so let's see, that's a 27. Yeah, we're in good shape. Just want to check and make sure we got it right. Okay, so let's see. My center and my radius. Okay, so my HK, let's see, it'd be x minus h, so that's 5 halves for the h. And it'd be y minus k, so that's like y minus negative 4, so it'd be negative 4 for my k. Okay, my radius is the square root of this guy right here. And remember, guys, it has to be in simplest radical form. Remember, this is like the square root of 91 over the square root of 4. And let's see, the square root of 4 is 2. 91. I think that's a prime number. Let me see. 91 divided by 7. It is not a prime number, okay, but its only factors are prime. 91 is 7 times 13. So the only two factors of 91 are both prime, so radical 91 is in simplest radical form. So my radius is radical 91 over 2. Okay, one more. Let's see. Let's try this guy. Okay, let's see. I got a quadratic term in y, I got a quadratic term in x, I got to bring this one on the right-hand side, bring it over to the left-hand side. Okay, so it starts as negative 4x squared, comes over, becomes positive 4x squared. Okay, I have a linear term in x, I want to bring that over to group with the quadratic term, so I have to move it over so it goes from negative to positive. That'd be plus 20x. Okay, let's see. I have a quadratic term in y, 4y squared, but no linear term in y. Okay, and let's see. I've got two constants. I want to get them together. So I've got this negative 1 on the right-hand side. I want to bring this guy over so it becomes positive 7. Okay, we're in good shape here. Okay, so I have 4x squared plus 20x plus 4y squared equals, that would be 6. And notice I have to divide out the 4's right here and right here, so I got to divide everything by 4. Okay, so let's see, that gives me x squared plus, that would be 5x, and I'm going to have to complete the square in x. This gives me y squared, and notice I have no linear term here, so I don't have to complete the square in y. And let's see, 6/4, that reduces down to 3/2. Okay, and then whatever I add here, I have to add over here. So let's see, that's 5/2 squared. So that means I have to add 5/2 squared here. Okay, so this is x squared plus 5x plus, that would be 25/4. Plus y squared is already a perfect square, so I can write that as y minus 0 squared. And then let's see, I've got to add these guys. So let's see, that would be 3/2 plus, this is 25/4. So my common denominator would be 4, so I'd have to multiply here above and below by 4. Okay, so that's a 6/4 plus 25/4, so that gives me 31/4. Okay, so this is 31/4 here. Okay, so let's see, we factor this guy. This is a perfect square trinomial. Bring the sign of the linear term down. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 25/4 is 5/2. This is already a perfect square. Okay, so there we go. It is in standard form. Okay, so I need my center and I need my radius. Okay, all right, so let's see my HK. Okay, so that would be x minus h, would be x minus a negative 5/2, so h is negative 5/2, and y minus 0, so obviously 0 is k. Okay, and then my radius would be the square root of this guy. Square root of 31/4, which we have to put in simplest radical form. That's the square root of 31 over the square root of 4. 31 is a prime number, so that's just the square root of 31 over 2. And there's our radius. Okay, so we've got our equation in standard form. Okay, we have our center and we have our radius. And that'll wrap it up for this week. Okay, you guys stay safe out there, and I miss you a whole bunch.